Hi there, my name is Grace, and I'm currently a 5th year at Cal State Long Beach in the Bachelor of Fine Arts program for drawing and painting, and I also have an art history minor. I typically do these paint with me videos, but kind of like a podcast included, and so if you like these kind of videos, go ahead and stick around, grab a cup of coffee or tea or anything that you like to drink, and yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. I usually talk about my process or just my thinking process or just even the physical process of painting this. This was for a final that I had for my class last semester. But yeah, so I like to pull in interests or different inspirations from things that I watch or things that I typically enjoy. I had a really hard time compiling and making this kind of composition. I was honestly fighting so hard, but I actually really liked how it turned out just because I think it was just simple enough for people to interpret, but also I think it really captured a lot of my interests. So the prompt of this was to talk about something that you're interested in or something that you're passionate about, and I wanted to dive into something of gore. So I love zombies, I love gore, graphic, just like almost like disgusting stuff. I love crime, and so I wanted to convey that in painting, but I just didn't know how. I'm still a very, very new painter, and skin tones is something that's very difficult for me. Portraiture is very difficult for me, and so I was having a really hard time. I was like, I like the idea of skin ripping, I like the idea of like zombies tearing skin, but I just didn't want it to be a picture or something of a movie scene. Like, that's what movies are for, and so I wanted to create something of my own. And this one night I was staying up, and usually when I stay up and I can't fall asleep, I like to watch ASMR videos. I don't eat red meat, and so I typically watch like people eating burgers or people eating steak or something, just like a guilty pleasure of mine. And I saw someone, Zach Choi, he was eating fried chicken and he made it look so good, and I was like, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be so funny if it was a little person, like that would be crazy. People wouldn't watch that. And so that's kind of what was inspired by my piece initially. And when it started to come to life, I started to think of Attack on Titans, and I watched that anime. I'm not like too into anime, but I've watched a few. I've watched Erased on Netflix. I've watched Promised Neverland. We don't talk about the second season. And so Attack on Titan is very graphic and very gore, and it's very sensitive. It's not for everyone. And so as it was coming to life, I wanted to kind of have that and evoke that emotion where it wasn't full of anger, it was just pure hunger, and there was like god-awful fear in the victims. And so that's kind of what I was inspired by in terms of my modern day interests, and also trying to think of the art history aspect and context of what art has turned into. And so I was considering Francisco Goya's, I think it's called Saturn Eating His Son, and it's also in a black still space, and he is eating his son, and it's also very graphic. And my professor also mentioned there is a surgeries that they used to paint, and it was very bloody and gory and stuff like that. But as you can tell from the time lapse, I genuinely fought really hard for the portraiture. This is a picture of me, and I'm still learning how to manage my time. I'm still learning how to manage skin color. Like, I don't have a broad range. As you could tell, I'm a little orangey and that's because I definitely overuse burnt sienna. I love burnt sienna and I heavily rely on it. But yeah, that's kind of my thinking process, my physical process. And I also wanted to add the details of like the hands as if they were scratching the shirt of the quote unquote Titan, quote unquote monster, just little things like that. And yeah, it's July 13th. I have not painted, I have not drawn in a while, and I'm thinking of diving into other career avenues. I'm currently job searching for digital marketing and social media management, since this is something that I'm passionate about, is video editing, website managing, networking, and yeah, being a comfort creator. I like engaging with community, and I like networking and working along with others. And yeah, I realized that ever since I got my Instagram back, ever since I started YouTube and going into this routine, that this is something I've always been passionate about, and to make it out of a career would honestly be a dream for me. And so yeah, I do find myself thinking of what it'd be like to do art on the side, like selling prints, selling pins, selling stickers, or maybe potentially clothes. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm headed. That's kind of my plan, and I hope that things start to look up. I know that the job market doesn't look that great right now, and yeah, there are a lot of layoffs, and I have the privilege to be a student, to be supported by my parents. I know that I've been on this tangent for a little bit, but I guess I haven't talked this in depth for a while, and I like to be updated in terms of just where I'm at in terms of career or just like my life. Yeah, I am going through a lot of transitions, and it's exciting, but at the same time, I don't know where my life will lead, and I want more out of life. I want to work hard, and yeah, I just feel really lazy these days, and I want to do more. I have a lot of potential, and I want to tap into that. And whether that means creativity, what word is that? Like creatively, or just me and my own development as a person. Like I always want to be growing and being more aware. And yeah, here I am painting the figure. At this point, I was going to be very late to class, so I was kind of panicking, and I didn't put as much detail in the figure as I did with the face. And it did make the difference, just because when you see it from afar, like you could tell there isn't a stark difference, so it kind of blends in. And so it causes the viewer to kind of walk up to the painting. And a question that my professor asked was, where do you see this painting? And I personally saw it in, like Not Scary Farm, when you go around the corner and there's stuff on the wall. That's kind of where I see it. I don't see this in a doctor's office. I don't see this in someone's room. I see this very much in an amusement park. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah, you could talk about what you liked and what you didn't like. Yeah, and if you like this kind of podcast style, please let me know. And yeah, I hope that you could stick around, and I hope that you enjoyed. Okay, bye-bye.